Okay, so this is the these are the Posca pens that would have come in your kits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And they say down here point, well, that's just 0.8. Maybe that's the color. Yeah, they're all pretty small. They're about 0.5 tip. And you'll see when you take the lids off, they've all got white tips. That means that there's no ink, there's no paint in there. So what you have to do is take them out. You hear that? There's a little ball point, a little bead inside. You're going to shake them up to work up the paint inside. I'm just going to get a page out of this pad. I'm just going to take the page completely out, just so it's easier to work with. So you shake up your pens. It can take a while. Get any color and start shaking it up, and then there's still nothing there, it's still white, so you have to actually pump it. So you press down like that and see the big bottle of paint that came out, but now you can see that there's a lot of paint on there. Now that's a bit too much paint, so make sure you've got a tester page first, because you don't want to get that paint everywhere. You just want to have a color on your tip like that, so you can then draw with it. See that? And you don't want to press down, because when you press down, see that it released a whole bunch of paint. So we don't want to press down when we're drawing. We just want to just draw normally. And then you can even color in. If you want to do, let me do here, like this. Say we had a little square here, and I wanted to color that in, I could just do this, or I could let out a bit more paint and then push that paint around. But see, I went out the lines there as well. But it can get messy if you do a lot of that. So try not to push down on the pen too much, and make sure it's got a nice color inside the tip. So that's the ones within the set. I'll just show you some other ones here. So you can see how much bigger this one is. This one is a, oh, I just got paint on me because I touched the thing. A 5M. Where's my tissue? I've got too much paint on that page. It can be messy. Just soak that up. And that's the other thing. Because it is paint, you do have to let it dry as well. Now I've got blue paint all over my green Posca. Just checking this one up. So this one's got a fatter nib on it. See that? Round nib. This is what I'm using before. So this one does a bit more. It's a bit more of a spongy tip. It's a bit thicker. And then, but these are good starting ones. I think this is the same. Oh no, this one's even bigger than that. It's 1.3. Okay. Same thing. You can get brush tip ones as well. And this one's a smaller one. This is a 0.7 millimeters. It's very thin. That's good for doing really thin lines. And they also come in some metallics as well. This one's silver. Oh yeah, don't shake your pens with the lid off, because sometimes the paint can splatter out and you'll get like a spray all over your page or on your walls. I've done that accidentally before too. Pump, 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 pump. After a bit of a shake, it's still not coming out. Shake it a bit more. So what the ball bearing inside does, it just mixes up the paint, because it can go a little, not hard, but it can start to solidify. So you need to sort of work it up, agitate it. I'll get this silver one to work. It's not working. It has been a while since I've used some of these. I'll keep working on that one. So basically, it's just like a normal pen. You want to draw with it, things like that. And if you want a little bit more paint come out, you push down on the tab. Still trying with this silver. There we go. See, sometimes it takes a bit of work, but that's, I don't know if you can really see that, but that one is a bit shinier. See how it gets shiny like that? So there's a few different metallics as well. But I've got boxes of them. So we'll go back to our regular paints, and I will keep using this page because we're still testing. I'm going to choose a different color. And I want you to just practice doing some shapes. They don't have to be huge. They're probably better if they're small. So I've just got a red here. A few little pumps. There we go. We've got some paint coming up. So let's just draw just some small, like a square, a circle, or I'm going to do like a figure 8. 2 little circles like that. I'll zoom in a bit. Just to get used to using the pen and coloring in, because you can get some streaky lines if you're doing big areas as well. So what you can do in that area is like cut the shapes in half by putting intersections, putting lines in like that, and then color them in a section at a time. And try and get a nice covering. And I don't know how many of you are left-handed, but I'm left-handed, as you can see here. So I can't color here and then color over there because I'll smudge this one. You got to be careful about that and where you put your hand. Got some paint over there too. So it could end up being a bit messy. So I don't know if you want to wear, you can wear gloves. You can get cotton gloves from chemists, or plastic gloves, rubber gloves. Or just deal with the fact that you're going to get paint on your fingers like that, and then wash your hands afterwards. It is all water-based, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So I've got a few little spots in there. So that's just doing solid colors. If you want to do another color next to those, I would wait for them to dry. You can just leave it to dry and wait, or you could use a hairdryer or put it in the sun to sort of speed up that drying process. But if you want to do a color next to it, you definitely need to wait for it to dry, because you will, if I try to do, say, another circle next to it like this, and color this in, and I touch on that side a little bit, it's going to see how it's sort of getting a bit blurry and the colors are transferring over. That's why you want it to dry, because you don't want to blur and blend in like that. So once it's dry, it will be a solid color. And then look at my yellow, now has red in it. So eventually that red will come off. There we go. You can use the Poscas to blend colors. So if I did, you have to be quick though before it dries. So if I did a bunch of red here, for example, and then some yellow on this side, hopefully when they mix, it should change to orange. Just a little bit of orange there, but they're not perfect. And if you scribble back and forth like I just was, so I'm just trying to clean this yellow. Oh, a lot of yellow came out then. You will notice, I don't know if you can see it on here, but there's little, it's called pilling. So little bits of paper, there's some right, little bits of paper get sort of ripped off and stick up. So there's some there, you can't, no, I can't really focus on it. If I do it with my finger, I might be able to, yeah, see that little bit there? I pulled off. It's on my finger now. Little bits of paper, because you're scrubbing. It's like, scratch with your nail, you eventually get little bits of paper rip off. That's what happens with the ends of these Poscas. Because Poscas were originally when they were originally made in Japan by the, I think it's a Mitsubishi company, not the car company. They're actually used more for writing on other things and used for graffiti and stuff like that. So they work really well on other products, other surfaces like metals and plastics and things like that. So if you've ever done that rock painting where you paint a rock and then leave it in the park for someone to find later on, the Poscas are great for that. I've seen people decorate water bottles and draw on them like that. So this paper is good for practicing and doing some artwork. So it should be good on the canvases that came with the pack. And it should be great on the caps as well that came in. There's a cap. But we'll be doing a bit more of that next time. So that's sort of the basics. You need to let things dry. It looks like that's still a little bit wet. There's a little bit there. Let things dry first. So if you're working on one picture with a lot of colors, you'll want to work on different bits, different sections at a time. So let's go back to the yellow on this one. Now that this circles are dry, or a bit more dry than they were before, you can do your colors over the top. Still being a bit careful because the nib is a bit scratchy. So I'm just sort of tapping and letting the paint sort of drip out. And because the paints are opaque, not translucent or transparent. So transparent means you can see through it. Opaque means that you can't see through it. And translucent means you can sort of see through it. So these paints are opaque. So as you can see, I did the yellow over the red and you can't see the red through it. Sometimes you can see it, depends on if you're using a dark color and a light color. It just means you do another coat of paint or Posca over the top. But otherwise, that's sort of it. So you can get your blends if you really want to. You could even get a brush and do that. I've got a brush here. Why don't I just show you that? I haven't actually done a brush before. I've seen it done. So I've just got a little simple brush here. So why don't I pick, yeah, I forgot about the chat too, everyone. There is a chat there if you want questions, or you can hold your hand up and ask a question. I'm going to do another one of these blurs here. Get the green working. There we go. A bunch of paint on there. I'm pushing down a little bit because I want a lot of paint, so I don't want it to dry out. So we'll go green to purple. So again, shaking with the lid on. I always shake with the lid on. And then white tip. I don't want that. I want the purple tip. So I'll pump, 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 pump. Getting lots of paint out there. So I'm going to get, I've got the brush. I need a wet brush. Where is my water? My office studio is a bit messy at the moment. I'm working on several different products. So now I've just got water on this brush. Oh, that's dirty water. I need clean water. But I should be able to just sort of bring those together and blur them a little bit. So even though we're not using traditional paint, that's not great, is it? Maybe I needed more water. You can still use traditional paint methods. So like using the brush. I don't have my water nearby, so it's a bit hard to do this. But you sort of get the idea. If I had a bit more water, I could sort of blend this a bit better. It's not really happening at the moment. So yeah, you can use different techniques and different mediums Oh, well, actually, we're only using the 1 medium, but we're using different techniques. So we can use brushes with the Poscas. We can just draw with the Poscas. We can try and blend them naturally like that. Even if you add a bit of water to that one, clean water, not like my dirty water, that would help blend that a little bit too. I'm not sure if you can reactivate the paints, which means if you added water to it once it dries. I haven't tried that. I think it might be a bit hard. And if you're working on this kind of paper, it might just soak the paper more than anything. So that's sort of
they
something
can use on the canvas if they want. Yeah.
Yeah.
You reckon canvas going to be all right? Should be.
I think the canvas will be all right. The canvas will be fine if you add water to it, not the paper.
Yeah. I got 4 of them, so it should be okay.
They got 4?
Yeah, 4 canvases. So they should
okay,
be able
great.
to mess around with it.
Yeah, well, maybe use one just to practice on, and then save the others for when you've got a drawing that a painting that you want to do really nicely on those canvases. So let's just take this out of the way. Be careful where you put it because it's still wet. I just touched it. It's still wet, so you don't want to mess up your work area too much. I'm going to get another piece of paper because I want to show you how you can plan out. Have you guys got anything there to show me so far that you've been working on? Just your just with your colors and things like that? Oh, that's pretty cool. Samantha, that's pretty cool. Is that all colored in with Poscas?
Samantha, can you raise hand function in Zoom? And then we can unmute you because the workshop will run muted like this. You have to use the raise hand function in Zoom.
Hang on,
I will unmute you. Or maybe I try to unmute you now.
There you go.
Oh, cool.
Samantha, was that all Poscas that you used to color that in, was it?
Yeah, and my name's Christina. I just had Samantha.
Oh, is that your mom?
Yeah.
Christina. Okay, cool. That was really nice. All right. Well, now I want to show you all how to do. Oh, my pencil's not very sharp. How to do some sketching, and then you can draw over that with your Poscas. So you sort of trace it and then color it in. The only problem is, so I'm just sharpening my pencil. The only problem is that sometimes the lead pencil shows through the Poscas, so you need to press lightly. Or another way is after you draw it, you then erase softly, preferably not with a rubber like this, with a more of a kneadable one, which looks like blue tack. And that sort of just gets rid of the eraser lightly. Okay, so let's start with something simple. We'll just draw, let's draw a little face. So I'm just going to press lightly, draw a circle. You can draw any kind of face you want. You don't have to copy mine. I'm just trying not to press too hard. I don't want to make it too sketchy. So we'll do a little, I might do it like a little dog. Give him a little face here. Cheek and a nose sticking out. So it looks a little bit like Mickey Mouse. So there's a little face there. Give him some eyes. My dog wanted to go outside. It's going to have to hold it. So there you go. Eyes, nose. He hasn't got a mouth. Let's put a mouth in there. A little shine on his nose. And what kind of ears should we give him? Floppy ears. Ears sort of flop down like that. That is, if you're copying the same dog, you can draw your own thing. And the other ear, maybe his other ear is sort of up. And I might, no, I'll just leave it solid like that. Okay. So I will add some spots on him. Maybe he's a Dalmatian or something, I don't know. And I'll give him some little eyebrows. So that's enough detail, I think, for just a starting image. Actually, I'll give him a little collar, a neck and a collar. So draw the neck down and then draw an oval kind of shape. A collar and a tag. So I drew that pretty quick, but you can make it look however you want. It doesn't have to be the same as mine. It doesn't even have to be a dog. Now I'm thinking, what colors do I want to use? And it's instead of using all the colors, it's good to sort of get a palette of colors. So colors that you might just pick, like, I want to use red and brown and purple. And they're going to be my 3 colors. I'm going to use it over everything. Or you might want colors that sort of go together, like a gradient, the ones that are next to each other in the rainbow, because red and yellow make orange. That might be good that way. Or even green, purple to red, or green, purple to blue. What am I saying? Not green, purple, red. Green, purple, blue. It's green, blue, purple, red. That's how it goes. So you can use those 3 colors. Or you can just do completely random colors. Maybe yellow. Maybe I want yellow mane fur. Maybe I want the spots to be blue. His collar can be orange. The eyes can be white the way they already are. Or maybe you can have a big blue outline as well. So that might be my color palette. So you just mess around with that. You don't have to necessarily do these same colors. But yeah, you can play around with different color palettes, and they don't have to be the colors that things actually are. Like, you don't have to do a green frog. You could do a purple frog or a yellow frog, So normally when we're drawing something, we've got the pencil lines like that. The next step would be outlining it. But we don't want to do that with Poscas. You want to get all the colors down first. So I'm going to use the yellow, bit of a shape. Yellow is going to be my main color. So what I'm going to do is I'm just not trace around the whole thing, just trace around the bits that I want to be yellow. So I've got to be careful where I put my hand, because I don't want to go over the wet part with my hand. Now I don't want the nose to be yellow, but I want all the bits around it to be yellow. So all these bits. So again, you can divide this up so you don't get the streakiness happening. Or you could even do a few pumps to let out some more paint, but just be very careful when you do that. You don't want to make a huge mess. So I'm going to do something different with this line up there, but for now, I'm just going to draw over it just so I can divide this up to color it in. And I can see where it's going to start getting a bit streaky because there's not enough paint. So if you move too fast with the Posca, it can form streaks as well. And if that happens and it gets patchy or streaky, you can just wait till it dries and then do another layer. So just go over it again with the same color. So I'll just do little dots here and there to fill up some of those gaps. So again, lines, 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 lines. It can take a while to do. As long as you're patient. It probably takes a bit longer than actual coloring in with a texture or pencils because you're working with the paint. Also too, if you're doing big areas, you'll probably want a bigger nib, bigger Posca. Actually, is this one bigger? I think this is the same color. Where does it say the color on this one? Doesn't. Oh, it just says yellow. This one is straw yellow. It's not the same color. Okay. I'm going to say if I had a bigger one, I could do it bigger. I don't think I've got a bigger one in this color. So I'm just going to, for now, I'm going to draw over or color over the mouth because I'm going to use, I'm going to draw the mouth in when we do the outline. And the outline, as I said, you'd normally do that first, but we're going to do that last. So you can start to see some of the areas are probably starting to dry now as you're coloring in the rest. And then as it dries, it'll indicate whether or not you missed a spot or if you need to go over some areas because they're too streaky, too light. Like you might have moved the Posca a little bit too fast. Some of mine's a bit too fast, I can see it. So I'm just going back with little dots and fixing it up. But yeah, it's just sort of a bit of a waiting game. So if you haven't got patience, it can be a bit annoying waiting for all this paint to dry. And that's when you can do as much as you can and then go and get a hairdryer or something like that to help speed up the process. Hairdryers and things like that can make the paint dry too fast and then it can cause some issues, but it's usually not too bad. You just don't want to use anything too hot because you don't want to burn the surface. Okay, so I've pretty much got his whole head yellow. I've got a few holes. I do want, I'm going to do a bit of shadow under this ear. So I'm going to do a little bit of yellow there. And then the top bit yellow. So see how I've left that little gap in the ear? That little gap there? That was my dog yawning. Let's turn this around. Oops, big dribble of paint came out because I pushed down accidentally. So you sort of have to plan ahead a little too, and that's what I've done with the leaving the gap there because I know I want to do a bit of shadow. And I'll probably do that in orange. I mean, if you had more colors, you could do a darker shade of yellow. So that's why I've left that gap up there. I'm going to leave another gap right at the bottom. I should say at the top of his neck, where I'll come in with another color. So I think that's all my yellow bits. Blow on it a bit, wave it to dry. So that's going to be my, that's my main color. That's going to be my shadows under the neck, under the ear. This one's going to be my spots. And this one's going to be my outline. So, and I'll do the eyes that color as well. Maybe it can be the collar as well. I might do the dot, a little tag on his collar. Oop, too much paint's coming out. Do that in yellow as well. So you can see that you can still see the pencil lines through there. Oh, it's really cool, Kelly. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen. I just looked up. It's really nice. You can see how the pencil lines are coming through. We will fix it up when we go do the outlines, cover up most of those. But right now, we just sort of got to wait for it to dry a bit. I think it's dry over here. So I can maybe start doing the spots on this side. It's very wet on the tag and still wet on the ear there where I dropped a lot of paint. So just be careful when you're doing a second color. Either wait till you know it's completely dry, or just be very careful around the edge and don't overlap the colors too much. You can see I'm using leaving a lot of white space there. I have to go back on. It's probably not good. I'm just going a bit fast because I don't want us to run out of time and I'd like to get this finished. So there you can sort of see how the lines aren't too visible between the two colors. The pencil lines, I should say, but here they are visible. But we will fix that. So I'm just going to go through and do all of his spots. Being careful where the blue's touching the yellow, because I don't want any green lines in there. Then the little dot in the middle. And I've got 2 more dots on his ears. But yeah. So see how I keep turning the page around? That's because my hand's on this side. I don't want to lean over the whole drawing. So you have to be conscious of that. Otherwise you will get paint all over your hand. And this bit here is still very wet. So I've got to be very careful there. This bit of yellow. Where all the paint oozed out because I pressed down. You don't want it to be too wet because it will take a long time to dry. You could dab it off with a tissue or a cotton tip. But I don't think that'll be too great. Let me just show you what will happen there. I've got a tissue here. So I've got a lot of yellow paint just here. So I'm just going to dab and off. And look, so I've got a heap of paint on there now, but look what it did. See how it sort of made that rough texture? That's why you're best to leave things to dry completely. But I might be able to fix it by going over it you left-handed too. Yeah, you might, if you leave it to dry perfectly before you draw over the top, like I'm about to here, I'm going to get a bit of green there. You won't have these color mixes and those little accents. So I've got some green in that little dot there. Make sure I get the yellow off. I am going to come back with the yellow, just to add a little bit more back into this one where I dabbed it off. Just little dots should fix it up. So I've got my yellow, all of my blue. Orange is my next color, which I'm going to use for just 2 spots, the bit under the ear and the bit under the head. I'm going to the orange. Oh, I haven't used this orange before. And remember to, if your paint starts to look a bit watery, like when you're drawing, or even very dry, just give them a shake, put the lid back on, give it a shake, give it a few pumps, just to re-energize, can't think of the word now I'm looking for, just to get the paint sort of happening again. So there's a little shadow under the head there. And I got to turn this all the way around. Let's get the shadow under the ear. And then my last color is going to be the outline color, but I'm going to color in the collar and the nose in this color. And I need actually another color on behind there. Maybe we could, if you were using a different colored paper, you could use the white to do the eyes if you want the eyes to be white, and the little highlight. Or you could just paint the whole nose in and put the highlight in afterwards when it's all dry. But because I'm going to do the nose in this color, the white might need to be a couple of layers, like a couple of coats, just because it's so dark, or a light color over a dark. Okay, so I have used this one before. Yep, okay. So this one, trying to find a way that I can come in. One way you can do it is get a piece of paper, or I'm just going to use a tissue here because it's not too wet. And I'm just going to put, oh, pull out so you can see. So I've got a bit of tissue here. I'm putting my hand on it so I can sort of move over and color over like this. So I'm not smudging paint. And if I do get any paint, I'm just going to soak it up like that. So that's, oh, I just put that everywhere. So it's one way you can do it. Or you can just fold up a piece of paper and have paper under your hand. I usually do paper when I'm using lead pencils, so I don't smudge the lead as much. Okay, so I'm just going to do the nose. I'm just going to draw around the shape first. And I'll leave a hole in it like that for the highlight. I'm not going to do the white over the top. So I'm going to use the white from the paper to create my white areas. Okay, so there's his nose. I'll start some of the tracing as well, like the mouth. Oops. So I don't know if you saw that. I tried to push it the wrong way. So sort of back and forth, I did up and down. So it did a bit of a splatter. I don't know if you can see, just right near the top of the mouth. A bit hard to see. So the pen did splatter. It got stuck and then splattered. I might as well continue doing that. Coming down all the way around the ear. So just outline the ear. I'm not going to outline the dots, but I'll just go around the outside of the head. So everything gets an outline. Dog just started making a weird sound. Excuse me, is it? It's chewing something. Thought that sounded weird. My dog was chewing on a moisturizer bottle, and as he bit on it, he squirted it everywhere. So I got to clean that up. Okay, so I'm back to coloring in my collar here. So this is the same color as the outline, so I don't have to worry too much about going out of the edge. Continue going on the outlines. Sorry that I keep moving it around, but I don't want to get my hand all painty. Oops. Around the eye. Do you hear that sound, that sort of crackly sound? So I can do it here. It sounds, that's annoying. That. Hear that? That's where it's sort of going the wrong way for the nib, and it makes little splatters. So if this was the line, it's got little bits coming out like this on the line. If you start hearing that, stop and then trace it a different way. Go in a different direction because you're pushing the nib. You're dragging the nib in a direction against the fibers within the nib. And if you make a little mistake like I just did then and over there, you can just thicken up the line. It's not a big deal. Color in his eyes. Same color as the trace line. I'm going to do the eyebrows the same color as well. Now, just because we're doing Posca pens doesn't mean you can't use other things as well. You could do combination of Posca pens with watercolors. Shush. You could do markers as well over the top. Or even work them with colored pencils, or aquarels, watercolor pencils and things like that. So that's pretty much the whole thing, Trace. I'm just going to put some little hatching marks in here just to show it's a bit of shading without actually doing a color. That was just a bunch of lines I did. See that. Just lines, up and down lines I did there. So it can give you a nice clean line on there. If you were, sorry, I'm just looking for something I can show you. If you're working on any other kind of textures, or colors, Trying to find something dark, a piece of cardboard I've got that's dark. Luckily, because I've been building some things, I've got a bunch of scrap boxes in my office at the moment. I haven't taken my recycling out. So just going to move this out of the way for a second. So this is just a Zombicide box. So this is a box from a board game. But I just wanted to show you that you can pretty much draw on anything, especially with white. So there's the, you can see the effects on my lights in there, but this is the logo of the game. But if I'd already drawn that and like done the red on the outside with the Poscas and that, I can then come back and, is this working? No, ooh, heaps of paint. Ah, too much. You can come back and, you know, add little highlights here and there. Or even, you know, color in whole sections. So the Poscas sort of work on most textures, most surfaces. I'm not sure about glass. Probably check the Posca website. I'm sure it's in English, even though it comes from Japan. So I just colored in that white bit. But you can see there, you can sort of, you know, draw anything on there. Little Mickey Mouse. Oh, whoa, I got stuck in the cardboard and then did a big blob. So if you had some of the pens that have, do I have wedges? No, I don't have any of the wedge ones. You can get them that have the wedge, like an angled edge. And they're good for doing writing and stuff like that. Come on. Okay, is this gray or silver? This is gray. So when you got the wedges, you can then do sort of, you know, writing. Wedges are better for doing that kind of stuff. That wasn't a word, that was just me scribbling. But you we sort of work on that. Well, that's just cardboard. Let me try and find something else. How about an empty water bottle? Not water bottle, a soda bottle. It's a soda bottle. I'm not saying you should go around drawing on all kinds of different things, but Poscas can work like that. So this is just on a plastic bottle. You can see it's a bit sort of watery. It doesn't work great. It probably rubs off, yeah, really well. But if you let that dry, or even coated it in hairspray or some other kind of sealant afterwards, once it dries, that'll probably work as well. I think, what else have I got I can draw on now that I'm drawing on different things? Yeah, I've got a container here, which I've got some crafting materials in. It's just the containers you get from like Woolies and stuff like that. It could be a little lunchbox, like a little snack box for school. But you know, why couldn't you just write your name on them, or a picture or something, to little logo for yourself? And again, it will wash off in the dishwasher or when you're washing in the sink, but you can seal these things. There's different products you can get that you coat them in, whether you brush it on or otherwise, and and they will then be able to be washed and things like that. I reckon my dishwasher probably still would take it off, but it is possible to draw on different things. The hats, for example, that you've got in the pack, they will soak up the paint because they're cotton, I believe. Let me just check. Yeah, I've seen like the cotton hats. They are 100% cotton. There you go. So that paint would definitely stick to them, and it probably won't wash out. So, oh, we've only got 5 minutes left. Let's see. My dog is eating my drawings that I've left on the floor. Trying to think of another use you could use it for. Excuse me. So doing artwork, writing on drink bottles or lunch boxes, kind of things. That'd be cool. You could personalize your things, your lunches. Why don't you show me what you've done so far? Oh, that's really cool. Christina, that's really cool. Nice blue dog there from Brilliant Kids. Callum, that's cool. I like that. Nishka, that's great. Nitya, that's really cute. And Kelly, your camera keeps going off. Oh, that's a cool cat too, Christina.
Kelly, can you turn off the blurry background so that we can see it?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you just got to hold the right angle. Otherwise, turn off your filter. So once you've got an idea, I was going to say, once you've got a design like that, you can then, once you're confident in drawing that, you can then grab your hat or your canvas or whatever you want to work on. And you should still be able to do the same thing with, you can just sort of rough it out in pencil. Maybe not draw over the top of that, it's probably a bit hard. But try and do it on just one side, which is a bit hard to show you. Yeah, so adjust my camera. So you can still draw with a pencil. You want to draw like a flower or something, or another little emoji or something like that, something simple. You can still draw on there. So I've got to just draw a circle. I could draw 2 big eyes on there. But this could be, it could be another little face. It could be, I feel like sort of drawing, if I had another circle here, and this could be a flower. So they're the petals. The hat's the best thing to draw on. Oh, Christina, I just saw your message. So a little flower, and this could be a little face here, maybe little smiley eyes, like as if it was an emoji. I don't know, do a little heart, do whatever you want. And then we can do that the same way. So there we go. Actually, I might change the smile. I don't know if I can rub out with this. Not very well. I'm going to do it more of a cheeky smile, showing teeth. There we go. So it'd be good to have it this way, actually, and hold on this. So it sort of had it flat, but because of the bend in the hat, I can't do that because I'm on camera. But I would put something under here and hold it up, or hold it with my hands. I don't know if you can see that, but my arm is underneath holding it. So holding it like that, so that I've got something to lean on. Otherwise, it will just collapse. So my hand's underneath. There's my fingers coming up over the top. Arm underneath here. So you see how I'm sort of holding it. So this part of my hand, this part here, is under that. So I'm holding it and I've got something to lean on. Then I could grab, let's do pink flower. Lid. And then you can just draw it on. Just do little sketches, little sketchy lines. Don't do big, solid flowing lines, just little sketchy lines. Get your shapes in. You can hear that when it's catching on the cotton, makes that little cracking sound. This means try going the other direction. So that's just the outline, and then I can go back and color it in. Looks like working on this dries a lot quicker. So we won't have to wait as long to do stuff over the top. See, we are out of time, but let's just do this a little bit. Because I think I can go over the top of this almost straight away. I'm gonna get, I have a lighter pink, which is a different size. You don't have this one in your pack. So what I can do with this one, oh, I've got too much out, is I can do some little details. No, it's not really coming through. I'd have to do a different color. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, it's a little bit visible. You might have to go over that a couple of times. Or even color in the middle bit. I think this has got a metallic one through it. Let's go get some more paint out. There we go. Like that. So you can just keep adding to that. I would plan out what you want to do first before committing to the hat. And remember to shake with the lids on, because look what I just did. I shook that pink one without the lids, and now I've got paint on my desk. Luckily I've got tissues just here. Clean up. Get it while it's wet, you can clean up pretty good. All right.
We are out of time, Peter.
We are out of time.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
So today we just learned the basic, how to use Posca Pen and the techniques, how to do it. Next week, we're gonna practice on, not next week, sorry, next session, which is next month, will be on the hat, right?
Yeah, we'll do more on the hat, and we'll do more lettering.
Yeah, like graffiti things.
Yeah, graffiti, and you could do stuff in your title pages at school, that kind of thing. Yeah,
should be good. All right, I'm going to unmute everyone to say Mr. Evan, thank you.
Is it finished?
Yeah, it's finished. Thank you.
we are done. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
That's really cool, Christina.
Yep. Oh, that's really cool, Christina. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Christina, can you take a photo and send it to us? It looks so good.
Yeah, the cat's good too.
I'll try to.
Yeah.
Who do you think?
Yeah, take
I don't know how to take a picture. How do you take a picture, Christina?
I don't know.
I don't know how to take a picture.
Now you take a photo and send it to Brilliant Kids.
Yeah, take a photo with your phone and send it in. Email it in. Yeah, it'd be great. Thank you.
It's really
Yeah.
good. Thank you so
We
much,
can,
everyone.
we can do that.
Okay, bye for now, everyone. See you next month.
Bye.
Bye.